Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Amber's Apron. Today we are going to be doing a full meal, start to finish, kind of. I'm going to take a few little, pauses so you don't have to stay with me the entire time. But I've had a lot of you message me about doing either keto or air fryer. So today's double whammy. We're going to be doing air fryer squash. So good. And I'm going to be doing salmon. And y'all, I have never been a salmon eater. I've never liked it. I've refused to try it my whole life. And just recently we started eating it and I found a recipe and it is amazing. Even my husband's like, you have to make this all the time. So that's what we're having for dinner tonight. We're having the, it's called honey butter garlic salmon, I think. I'll throw the recipe up. And then some air fried squash that's going to be breaded. And it's a keto recipe. And just a little side salad. And that's going to be our dinner tonight. So let's dive in. So first of all, I'm going to be taking my squash. Squash is in season right now. It's the perfect time to get it and cook it. But when you go to buy squash, a lot of times you'll see it really fat at the bottom and then it'll have a very narrow neck. Is it a neck? I call it a neck. Don't buy that for this because you really want all of your slices to be very similar. You don't want little bitty tiny rounds, like maybe that's the smallest. So I got mine, pretty even and uniform in shape. And then I'm just going to cut them up. Now, the last time I made a recipe, I made y'all watch me cut bananas, and it was very weird, and a lot of it I had to speed through. But, banana pudding's banana pudding. You gotta, so good. So, anyway, I'm not going to do that today. I've already cut up my other two squash, and then I'm just zipping through this the best way I know how. And please make sure that your produce is washed. When I was a little girl, my mommy used to tell me that these old dirty men would go to the bathroom and not wash their hands and then go handle all the produce. Now, I don't know of any produce perverts myself, but it definitely left an impact on me. I don't know if that's something you want to tell your 8-year-old daughter, but it definitely taught me to wash my produce. So, wash your produce. You never know what kind of pervert's been touching your squash. Oh, I need to cut that out. That's bad. Well, that's why y'all are here, ain't it? See what happens? So, I've got my 3 squash sliced up. Now, I measured this beforehand a little bit. I have salt, pepper, and cayenne pepper. Now, the cayenne pepper is 1/8 of a teaspoon, tiny amount. I don't even use the whole 1/8 of a teaspoon. If y'all knew my husband, y'all would be like, yeah, there's no way. He doesn't even want to know what's in there. And then the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of olive oil. But what do? We eyeball it. I do have measuring spoons. I just don't use them. Now, we're just going to stir this up. And you really want to make sure that your squash gets all of that olive oil and the salt and pepper on it. Just so it's coated. Because like I said, we're going to be making a breading. And we need it to stick. It's not going to be a thick breading. And it is keto and it's so good. Life-changing. Actually, my girlfriend at work shared this with me. We have this relationship. I just love her. She's my friend at work. We share flowers with each other. We share recipes with each other. We share funny stories with each other. We don't hardly ever cook for each other, though. Never just hey, I made you a dish. It's always if we're eating at work, she'll make something and I'll make something. And then we'll trade recipes because we like recipes. Now, this is going to be the most time-consuming part of all of it, but trust me, it's worth it, okay? So, if you can see this, I have it all mixed in. For real. I have it all mixed in. And everything looks to be pretty well coated with the salt and pepper and the cayenne pepper. We're just going to set that to the side. Now, here's the part I really want you to pay attention to. Because the recipe does call for panko. You can use panko. just plain panko crumbs. Because this is going to be a keto recipe, we're using pork rinds. So what I'm going to do, I've already got my bag of pork rinds, or I'm sorry, pork skins if you're not country. And I'm just going to pull a handful in here. Now, all we need is 3/4 of a cup. And this is an easy way. This is how I make my breadcrumbs for my meatloaf. Now that we're doing keto, and y'all, take me with a grain of salt because we're not doing the heavy duty, like measure everything macros keto. We're doing the dirtier version than the dirty keto. So we're not measuring. We're just trying to be a little more healthy. And I really bought some bikinis to wear to the beach. And I had in my mind, I was like, these 2 pieces look so good on the fat women on the website. They just look so good. And I was like, I can totally wear that and I'll lose weight before we go. We go next week. And I just had such higher hopes for myself. So keto, we're doing keto. Got to get in those swimsuits. So you just take your pork rinds and you're just going to roll them out. And this is actually like the easiest way if you ever need graham cracker crumbs for a cheesecake. Lord, y'all, listen at me talk about these non-keto desserts. God gracious. You know, if you need graham cracker crumbs for something divine, you just put your little crackers in here, roll them out. If you need cracker crumbs, like what I normally use for my breadcrumbs in meatloaf is Ritz crackers because they're buttery. And I just put a sleeve of them in a Ziploc bag and I go to town. But now that we're doing keto, pork rinds. And really, if y'all have never had meatloaf with pork rinds in them, you just don't know what you're missing. You really don't. And I'm not saying that to be funny. It adds a flavor, but it's not like, I don't eat pork rinds. That is disgusting. I will not. No, I will not just sit around and snack on that. That's so gross. I just can't even. I think of a little pig and I just can't do it. But in meatloaf, I mean, I'll eat some meatloaf. It just adds this flavor. And of course it's salty. So in my recipe, if you're going to use the pork rinds, cut back on your salt. The recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt. I cut it back to maybe a 1/2 teaspoon because these are pretty salty. Now, you can see my crumbs. All I'm going to do is dump these in here. And see, it's like no cleanup. You can just toss that. Or, I mean, really, if you're going to make something like this all the time to where you're constantly grinding up pork rinds, you can save it. Maybe put it in the fridge. I don't know. I'm going to throw it away. And then this is grated Parmesan cheese. I took the easy way out. Actually, y'all, I took the sale way out because I could get a block of Parmesan cheese for like $4.49, or I could buy this and it was on sale for $3.79, and I didn't have to cut my fingers on the grating block. So that's what we're using, some pre-grated from the grocery store Parmesan cheese. Now, it calls for 3/4 cup. This is a 1/2 cup, and I don't know if y'all paid attention. I didn't use the whole thing both times, so we're going to call it done. Now, normally I'm very much against mixing stuff with your hands, especially when you're cooking, because that just freaks me out. I can't stand it. The thought of it, I don't like it. But now this, you kind of have to. So you just mix it until it's incorporated. See that? I'm going to learn this one day, this whole aim, so I don't throw food at you like I just did with my squash. Now, I said we're using the air fryer, and we are. So all you do, actually, you know what? Let me turn my air fryer on and preheat it. Okay, I'm preheating that. Now, you need to cook it at 350 for, I think, 10 minutes. Really, I cook mine at 350 the first time, maybe 10 minutes, but as like the longer I cook it, because you have to make this in batches, I'll cut that time back, because I think the last batch I get out is usually around the 7-minute mark, because it starts to, like, it's hot. You know, it's hotter than 350. Gosh, Amber, get to the point. So anyway, what you're going to do is you are going to take your squash medallions, and you're just gonna put it in here. Now, squash and cheese does not sound appetizing to me, but y'all, let me tell you what this Parmesan does. It adds this nuttiness to it. And I know that sounds like some weird fancy schmancy way to say it tastes good, but it adds something to this, and it melts, so it cooks. And see, it sticks. I don't know if y'all can see that. It sticks. I've got a good little even coating. And then I'm just gonna lay everything in a layer and put it in there. But as I was saying, the Parmesan cheese kind of melts. I mean, it doesn't kind of melt, it really does melt. But it cooks with this crunchy topping, whether you're using the panko or if you're using pork rinds. And it just kind of melts and roasts, and then that squash is so tender on the inside. Holy cow, it's really good. And then you've got the salt and the pepper and the cayenne pepper that you've already put in here. And then the pork rinds have the salt and pepper on them. And I'm telling you, I don't even like squash. The only time I will eat any kind of squash is zucchini, and that's usually hibachi, because who doesn't like hibachi? And zucchini bread, because yeah, I'm so keto. Actually, I made some zucchini bread the other day, and I was really, really, really excited because I had a bunch of zucchinis. I was able to grate it up into 8 cups, so that'll make 8 zucchini breads. And I gave it away, of course, because we're doing keto, and I had already cheated like 3 times that week. So I think you're getting the point why I can't wear my bikinis that I ordered next week. I'm not a good planner, but this was like really bad. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. I can totally wear them. They look so good on the fat girls on the website. Amber, bigger than the fat girls. Come on. So anyway, I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to bread this up with my little keto breading. And just kind of press it in, because that olive oil is going to make it, you know, sticky. And I don't know if you can see that. See how it just kind of sticks? Kind of pat it in. Now, the air fryer I have is a Ninja Foodie. It's part air fryer, part Instapot. My directions for a lot of things are probably going to be different from y'all's because it is the Ninja brand. But as long as you're keeping yours at 350 and just kind of keeping an eye on it, especially after the first run. This is a time-consuming side dish, but y'all, it's worth it. It's so good, especially now with all this fresh squash. Oh, man. Have y'all ever had squash pickles? Back in the day, we had a garden, and I had grown cucumbers, and I was making pickles like every night. If y'all were on my Facebook back then, y'all know. Lord, if y'all were friends with me back then, y'all probably got a jar. But we had squash that year, and somebody was like, make squash pickles. And y'all, I did, and I would not try them. It just seemed so gross to me, but people liked them. I guess it's like pickled okra in a way, you know, it just seems so gross. I should probably live a little, branch out, you know, try these exotic foods. This is the country. We pickle everything down here. Oh, geez. So anyway, I am going to keep breading this. I'm also going to speed it up so you don't have to suffer through. So you don't have to endure. All right, y'all. I've got my first little layer done. I don't know if you can see that or not. You see? They're just in there. And now all I'm going to do is pop it in the air fryer. There we go. And I've got 10 minutes, so in 10 minutes, we'll check it out. Alrighty. And we're back. I finally have cooked most of the squash. This is my last batch, a whole 4 pieces. So, while my batch is going, I just put those in. I'm going to start on our salmon. Now, let me explain to you why I have skin on my salmon. I accidentally bought it with skin on. I'm not going to lie, because I told you that I had never cooked salmon, eaten salmon, had anything to do with salmon ever before. So some recipes actually call for skin on your salmon. This one in particular does, so I was a winner. One of the recipes I tried did not, it called for skinless salmon, so I had to actually skin it myself. And I'm still learning that. That won't be on here for quite some time. That recipe won't. But I've just had my salmon. We won't. You can eat the skin. There's a lot of good nutrients in the skin. I don't. It kind of grosses me out. This is the part I'm going to be eating, the meat. So I've actually had it laying on napkins, skin side up, just to make sure I get any of the excess moisture out of this. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. And so now I'm actually putting it on a metal pan. I highly encourage a metal pan. The first time I made this, I actually used the Pampered Chef stoneware, which I love Pampered Chef stoneware. It's one of my favorite sets for cookies or for anything frozen that I'm gonna feed my kids, like fish sticks. Not for salmon. The skin was kind of soggy on the bottom, which it really didn't matter to us. We didn't eat it. So we just kind of scraped the meat off and threw the skin away. But ideally, you want your skin to be super crisp. That's why I use a metal pan. So I'm actually going to be using this metal pan. It's Pampered Chef as well. I'm going to put it on my very bottom rack in the oven. That way, I'm definitely going to get that crisp on the skin. Now all we're going to do is salt and pepper. I'm using the coarse kosher salt because I love the flakes of salt. Oh my gosh, that has been an obsession of mine lately, especially on fresh tomatoes out of the garden. Y'all, have you ever had sprinkles on a cupcake? Because this, holy cow, this does that on a tomato. Oh, you've got these crunchy flakes of salt and then that sweetness and the juiciness of the tomato. I love it, y'all. Oh, nothing better. So I put salt on it. Now so the recipe calls for paprika. I actually use K-Town Crack. It's got paprika in it. It's got sugar, paprika, salt, dehydrated garlic. Hey, watch this. Let me give away my age. Spices, ground mustard seed, dehydrated onion. So it's got more than just paprika in it, but it has a really good flavor. It's for chicken. You can use it on pretty much anything. I have a girlfriend who uses it in spaghetti. I don't know where you buy it. I bought it from a girl on Facebook and she defriended me. Awkward. So I guess when it's gone, it's gone. Anyway, I'm going to use this. Long story short. And it's not like you're going to like season this heavy duty because you have this butter that has chock full of seasonings in it, and oh man, it's gonna take it over the edge. So a little bit of pepper. Do you like it, the pepper? And again, I like the big chunks. I'm a chunky girl. I like the chunks. Now, y'all, holy cow. I don't know if you can see that. You see how thick that is? That is melted butter mixed with honey, some fresh parsley, 2 cloves of garlic. Holy cow. Oh man. It's melted. But one thing I learned from kind of like a little whoopsie I had last time is I didn't make my salmon right away. I actually made the same meal. So I was busy doing the air fried squash. And I had my butter just sitting on my countertop and it started to thicken. So it wasn't like melted butter. And as it thickened, like it's a little thicker than it is now. It just kind of cooled off to where it wasn't like softened butter, but it wasn't melted either. And when I poured it on the salmon, it stuck. Like it didn't roll off on the pan. It stuck. Oh man, I'm telling you, it left like this buttery, it's kind of sweet. The honey's not super sweet, but it left this crust on here where everything just kind of sat on the salmon and then it baked in, and oh my gracious, y'all, this salmon, I hate to keep slapping y'all's mama, but I'm telling you, homegirl's going down with this salmon because it is so good. Oh, and y'all, I don't even, well, I mean, I guess I do like salmon now, but I hadn't up until this point. And I don't know if y'all can see it on my pan. I have a little sheet of parchment paper. That's for my benefit, because I don't want a huge sticky mess when I go to clean this, because it is a metal pan and I don't want to have to soak it forever, and I can't put it in the dishwasher, and just, so I put some parchment down. The recipe calls for a silicone mat. I don't have that. Tennessee, I mean, you know, it's not like I can't get one, but why would you need one? That's crazy. I'm sure it works. I mean, I'm sure it's great. I'm just one of those that, if it's something else I don't have to find a place for. Do y'all see all this behind me? All right, my husband, this is like my husband's pet peeve. It's all my Longaberger dishes. And y'all, Longaberger went out of business a while back, but they're back. I got an email. They're back. They're not selling as much. I don't know if it's kind of like a startup, or if it's the same owners and they just kind of took a little break, or what's going on. But they have, the baskets are back. There's not as many colors as there were. I think there's like 3 colors now. And you know, it used to be like there was a lot of colors. But I say all that to say, those are my Longaberger dishes, and I cannot replace them, and I will not get rid of them. So when we built our house, I actually wanted to do like a showcase. Is that a thing? Showcase wall? I wanted it to be like bam when you walked in. So we did the floating shelves. I guess that's what you call them, open shelves. We have shelves. It's barn wood. It's actually old barn wood from a barn that the cabinet maker tore down just a few miles from our house, which was cool. I mean, I was like, that tells a story. So they're really dirty. No, not dirty. They're really old. They're not dirty. But they're really old and scuffed up wood, and it's just, some of them are warped. Let me scoot over. See how that one's warped? And I love it. It's so cool. It's like from a barn up here on the mountain. But I have all my dishes out there because, I mean, that's like, you know, 2 cabinets. But I wanted them to be like, bam, when you walked in, because you can't buy these anymore. So I don't need another thing I have to put somewhere. Especially, he'll kill me. He already, anytime I buy something, he's like, oh, where are we going to put it? I'm like, it's a Longaberger. We're going to put it on the shelf. Y'all know, you wives, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hiding your clothes in your car until your husband's gone, you know. So all I'm doing, and you can see, here's what I'm talking about. See how it's not melted, and it's just kind of, it's not really see-through, kind of like opaque. That's what you want, because as you can see, and I'm going to hold this puppy up, this butter is just sticking on this salmon. It helps that the salmon's cold, because I've kept it in the fridge. Oh, you know what? I need to stop. Check my squash. Now, when you check it, this is what we're looking for, okay? You're going to see that melted cheese on top, and then that little bit of crunch, but flip it over. Boom. Money shot. Y'all, my squash, that was like perfect timing, because it was done. Now, this is hot, and I don't have a pot holder laying down, so I'm holding it with my trusty tongs. Now, let me tell you about these tongs. I am not very tall. What is it? Height deficiency? I'm short. I'm not super short. I mean, I should, based on my weight, be much taller than what I am. And when there's something up on the shelf that I can't reach, you know what I do? I come get these little bad boys. And I'm not going to do it, 'cause like I said, that's Longaberger. But I just reach up and I pull it down. Love these things. But this is hot. I can't pick it up, so I'm just going to maneuver it over here. And there they go. Now, back to this salmon. So, I don't want any of this to go to waste. Because 1, y'all know I like butter. 2, this is like fresh parsley. There's big old globs of garlic in here. And it's just going to sit on that meat as it bakes. And it's just going to, like make this, like I said, like a crust almost. I mean, the butter's going to melt down into the meat. But this on top, these big chunks of garlic, these big chunks of parsley. Holy cow, y'all. That mama of yours been mad because this, she's gonna get smacked. Smack yo mama's salmon. Hey, we should call it that. Smack yo mama's salmon. I'm gonna call it that. It's gonna be in the description. This is some keto. Smack y'all mama's salmon. Watch my kid. My kid will be in, he'll hear me. My 14-year-old. He'll be like, oh, I get to smack you? Not today, Satan. Okay, so I've pretty well, like, that's as empty as it's gonna get. And I'm just gonna take my finger, and I know y'all see me. Look at this. Y'all see me? No makeup. My hair is thrown up. This tie-dye shirt. We have been traveling. We actually drove 2.5 hours to Nashville to spend the weekend with my dad. And Cash, the feral one, all he wanted to do was swim. So we went swimming yesterday, and he got to swim. And at 1 a.m., he woke up with an ear infection. So we got to leave their house bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. Luckily, our doctor called us in some ear drops, so he's good as gold. Now, lemon, wash it, perverts in the produce. I did roll it back. I don't know if you know this. If you roll it back and forth, it kind of takes that juice and just kind of puts that juice in there. Do you like my sound effect? I have a microphone. I've got a microphone just for y'all, so you can hear how crunchy this this squash is. But you take it and you roll it back and forth. Makes that a little bit juicier. I mean, I don't want to say it makes the lemon juicier, but you see what I'm saying. Okay. What I want is some cute little slices. Look at this, y'all. See that crust I'm talking about? Do you see that? Oh, dude, I wish you could smell this. I wish this was like a smelly camera, because the garlic in that, oh, gracious. Now, you're just going to take your lemon, because it's going to kind of be like your top sheet. You know, on your bed, do y'all use a top sheet, like a flat sheet still? I saw somewhere that people nowadays don't. They use the fitted sheet and then just like a comforter. And honestly, I don't know how they do it. What else are you going to steal from your husband if you can't steal that sheet? That's like my favorite part of being married. Stealing the covers. So I've got little medallions, half moons. Yeah, medallions are round. So these are little half moons. Or if you're old lady, eye bags. And I'm just going to put them on my salmon. Because you eat with your eyes, duh. Everybody knows that. But that lemon flavor is going to cook down into that crusty crust of the garlic and the parsley and the butter. And everybody, oh, you know when you have lemon and you have fish and you just squeeze it on there, oh man, oh, heaven. So this is going in a 400-degree oven for I think 10 to 12 minutes. Like I said, the recipe will be in the description, so don't take my word for it. But look at that. Look at that. Look at all that crust. And then the lemons, y'all, so good. I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'll be back when we get it out. Y'all, it's ready. Let's get this out of the oven, shall we? I feel like we should do a dance. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my gracious, y'all. Wish you could smell this. Oh my goodness. My whole house. Oh, the garlic, y'all, and the butter, and just the salmon. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how excited I am right now. I'm going to plate this. Oh yes, it's happening. Now, it's almost dinner time, y'all. I've got my family in here all ready to eat. Gathered around the table, just waiting. They're like, Mom, come on. Now I've got this plated, and I really want y'all to hear this, okay? I want you to hear how crunchy You ready? I'm gonna do it with my microphone. This is pretty, I know. Can you hear the crunch? Y'all, it's so good. The squash is tender on the inside, but then it's got the salt and the pepper and that flavor of the Parmesan, that nuttiness I talked about. But then it's got that crunch. And you think, oh, that's like panko. No, that's pork rind. And it's so good. Got a little hint of that cayenne pepper. Hits you in the back of the throat. Oh, that's good. That's good, y'all. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make it. I want you to taste it. And I want you to tell me what you think. Because right now, this family of mine, they are ready to eat. Because let me tell you, this house, it smells amazing. And look what they're getting to eat. Plus salads. Look, we got veggies all around. And then we've got this amazing, amazing salmon. Have a happy day.